Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I'm going to be looking at the Northern Realms cards coming with the Gwent Master Mirror expansion that drops tomorrow. And I'll have a link in the description where you can go and check out all of the revealed cards yourself. I'm also going to be covering a Skellige card, a Nilfgaard card, and a Syndicate card because they finally released the full set of those. So the cards I missed in my previous videos, we'll cover them in this video. Okay, so Northern Realms. Now, the big mechanic of this expansion is evolving cards. Every faction has an evolving card, and that card changes from round 1 to round 2 to round 3 into a different variant. And for Northern Realms, we have Viraxus Prince. This is the card. We play it, we reset an allied unit's order ability. And this is a very intriguing power. So anything that has an order, you can reset it to play it again, provided it's a Northern Realms unit, so not neutrals. So things like Prince Anses, things like Visigurd, things like Selkirk, these things that have orders, you can reset them and play those abilities again, which I feel like seems quite powerful, especially as we get new orders coming into the game that you'll be able to reset. So that's what he does on round 1. On round 2, he has formation, which means you can play him on the front row or the back row. If you play him on the front row, then his order can be triggered straight away, and if you play him on the back row, then he gains 1 boost. So he has an order himself. You know, you can't just play this and do it immediately. You have to then trigger it, and then I guess if you gave something an order, you then have to wait a turn to trigger that. I'm not entirely sure, but this one, it says you give it zeal when you reset the order ability, which means you can play it on the turn that it's played as well. So you've got to kind of have him survive, but at 6 strength, a lot of units at the moment with 6 strength do survive at least 1 turn because they're a little bit tricky to kill. So yeah, and it also means that your opponent's going to actually have to kill your order units because you can reset them, right? Because you're going to need to have, say, something to reset. So suddenly things like Prince Anses become a target for removal. Devotion means that if your deck has no neutral cards in it, so if we have no neutral cards, then at the start of the round he'll transform into Viraxus King. With Veil, Veil means we cannot apply statuses to this unit, such as Poison, Lock, and all those kind of things. Reset an allied Northern Realms unit. Whenever you play a soldier, boost it by 1. So in the 3rd round, he also becomes a little bit of an engine, so you have this ability. But bear in mind, you want to play this after you've played your order unit, really. So as a result of that, or maybe, you know, the turn before, and then you play the order unit and then reset it. That's also a strategy. But you want to play this relatively specifically, shall we say. So the engine side of this maybe isn't going to be as impactful, and I'm not entirely sure, you know, I think you can run this card even without the devotion. I think, you know, level 2 is strong enough in my mind. So that's the what is this even called? Evolving. That's the evolving card for Northern Realms. That is the Viraxus Prince, Viraxus Outcast, and Viraxus King. So let's go up to the top and have a look what else is in here. Let's see. So we have the Smoke Them Out warfare card. Spawn 2 volunteers in an allied row and boost them by 1. What is a volunteer? Here he is. He is a human soldier token with Doomed. So bear in mind, if you have 2 soldiers, you actually make a crew pocket. So you could play this, get 6 points, and you get 2 next to each other. So you would get a little crew pocket, which means if you do play a unit with crew in between, that you're going to get the crewed effect, right? You're going to accrue some bonuses. God damn it. Then we have the Karak City Guard, and she, I believe this is actually a she has Veil, so you can't apply statuses, and she has the order where you move an enemy unit to the other row, and at the end of the turn, if you haven't used that order ability, she's going to boost. So she's an engine, she's a human soldier that boosts every turn, and then you also have the option of moving a unit. I'm not sure how valuable this engine ability is, though, because, you know, we have other cards that do a similar thing, like the Temerian Drummer, for example. She does have Veil, which means she can't be poisoned or locked, which is, you know, does give her a bit of an edge, but we'll have to kind of see how this card does pan out. We have the Karak Marine. Zeal. Order. Boost an allied unit by 2. So we play this for 3, we boost an ally by 2 on the turn we play it. If we have Devotion, so only, well, no neutral cards, then we boost an allied unit by 4 instead. So a 4 power boost is quite impactful on some cards. You know, cards which duel, for example, Anses is a good example. And there are cards that benefit with Inspired from being boosted, so this is something that you can always play and then save the boost if necessary, although 3 strength is quite easy to remove. Next up, we have the Karak Cutthroat formation. So we play him in the front row, we can do this immediately and give an enemy unit bleeding. We play him in the back row, he gets boosted by 1, and we'd have to wait a turn in order to apply the bleeding. Human, soldier, bandit. So a lot more soldiers kind of coming into Northern Realms with this expansion, which is going to, you know, help with things like soldier synergies in that. It's a relatively, you know, it's a card. It's a card. So moving on down the list, Karak frigate, they're all Karaks. Machine siege engine. So here's that crew thing. At the end of your turn, refresh this ability. So if you put this between two soldiers, then on the turn you play it, you'll spawn a volunteer, which is actually a soldier. So it's almost creating its own crew. And then if that's between two soldiers on the next turn, you can then spawn another volunteer. So you can get all sorts of volunteers. And I think this does have implications for some strategies like things with Draug. If you have cards that can generate more humans, that is going to be useful for Draug decks. So here we have Amphibious Assault, the Northern Realms Echo card. Play a Northern Realms unit from your deck with a provision cost of 9 or less. Boost it by 1 for each provision below the limit. So you can play low provision cards and boost them right up. Things like Tridam, I'm wondering how this would work with them because you're boosting them and he's dealing damage. Is it one big boost or is it like one boost, you know, multiple times? That's just kind of a question. It also gives you targeted draw for basically anything 9 provisions or below. And there's a lot of good stuff in that category. It's also Warfare, and I believe there's a card that draws Warfare cards, so you also have targeted draw for your Echo. I think this is going to be a really vital piece for Nilfgaard, Northern Realms, for trying to find the cards that they need. I like it. I like it. So if we keep going, we then have, here he is, Eggmund. Oh man, I want some eggs. Veil, Zeal. Melee, damage an enemy unit by 3. So we play him, we can deal 3 damage on order. If this order is not used, however, he boosts the unit to the right by 1. So he's kind of like a Temerian drummer with an added damage bonus. He's got armor, so he is a little bit more difficult to remove also than a drummer. I believe drummers are 4 strength. This is where they're 5 strength and I'm wrong, but whatever. And you have the added caveat of being able to then apply damage should you need it. But this does disable the ability. He also has Veil, meaning he cannot be locked or poisoned, so slightly harder to remove than a drummer. So it's not bad. Then we have Ildiko, Human Mage. So anything that triggers with mages, this is worth being aware of. Order, boost an allied unit by 5. Inspired, whenever you play a Northern Realms unit, give it Zeal. Oh my god, giving things Zeal. So when you play your orders, you can trigger them immediately, and this is quite problematic, but it only happens when she's boosted. But she also has the ability to boost a unit, so she can then, like, you know, you play this, you play Ansage, you boost him with the order, and he gets Zeal, so you just kill everything. It's pretty insane. So next up, we have the King. We have King Belohun. When you play a unit with power less than 4, set its power to 4. Devotion, increase the power limit to 5. So whenever you play this, and then whenever you play something smaller than 4, it would go up, which includes things like Kidweni Revenants, I guess? I'm trying to think which Northern Realms cards have less than 4 power, you know, that are commonly played. I think it's an interesting card. That is intriguing, but I'm not entirely sure. Because obviously you don't play volunteers, you spawn them. I mean, I guess your Karak Marine would be a 4. City Guard, Cultist. I guess it's like, it kind of is an engine if you're playing a lot of small units. That's a very bizarre card. I don't know. I'm unsure. I guess. Oh, Visigotta is 3, right? So when you make him a 4 or a 5, that does kind of help his sticking power a lot. So seems okay with cards like that, actually. You know, your smaller power cards. But I think it's kind of a niche card. I think you need low power cards that your strategy is around for this to be worth playing. So that's a watch this space kind of thing. Also, Visigotta is really fun to say. Okay, so, oh, one more. Wait, no, I've done all the Northern Realms cards. So that's all the Northern Realms cards. So I want to quickly go through the additional cards for Nilfgaard, for Skellige, and for Syndicate. So Nilfgaard, we have Dunny, and we have somewhere the Urchin of Erlenwold. So this is actually Emir, but whatever. So he has Veil, he has Zeal, he boosts himself, no, he boosts a random ally at the end of every turn, but you can transform him from Urchin of Erlenwold into Dunny. So he has 4 and 1 armor, boosts stuff, and then you have the option of turning him into Dunny, who has immunity and is a 7. So he gets a bit stronger. So I guess this is something you kind of leave to stick. And the thing is, if your opponent can't kill this in 1 turn, then on the next turn you can just transform it and reset the damage. So actually, this is quite a decent card, especially at only 7 provisions. I feel like that's not too bad, all things considered. Okay, so then we have a Skellige card. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. The Skjordal Drummond, Devotion, Veteran. So if you only have this card in Skellige cards, no neutrals, then this gets stronger every round. When you play it, you damage an enemy unit by his base power. So on round 1, it's a 3 damage, 3 power. On round 2, it's a 4 damage, 4 power. Round 5, it's a 5 damage, 5 power. And 5/5 is pretty decent because it does give you good removal. This is also a warrior, so it does synergies with warriors in terms of resurrection and stuff. Yeah, seems okay. It's nothing to kind of blow your own horn at. You see Fishes blowing a horn. I feel like Skellige is a bit underwhelming, actually, the new cards. Okay, so lastly, we have Ulrich, and I think this card is insane. Intimidate. Deploy. Spawn and play a base copy of a Bronze Virus 1 unit from your hand. Devotion, boost it by 2. And this is just really powerful because it's got that spawn effect, which means it also synergizes with our good friend, the Fallen Knight. Where is he? Here he is. Because whenever you spawn a unit, he's going to boost. But this is, you spawn it, and a lot of the Virus 1 units also then spawn things themselves, right? So like if you played the Fallen Knight, then you play Ulrich to play the Cleric of the Flaming Rose, which you spawn, and then this also spawns things. You see, like, you're using like a chain of spawning. It's like frogs, basically. So in that regard, I feel like this card is more impactful than maybe it first seems, and I think that it's going to be a really key piece in the Virus 1 strategy. So Ulrich, I do think is really strong, actually. That is my kind of verdict. So those are the Northern Realms cards, plus a few extras. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which cards do you think are going to be most impactful? Is there anything that I've kind of missed? Let me know. Keep an eye out for upcoming videos. We still have to do Monsters and Squirtle, so those will be up on the channel hopefully today. Beyond that, have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video.